Welcome back to the deep dive. You're here because you need high-value knowledge fast.
Yeah.
And sometimes the best way to really get a handle on complex stuff is to see how the experts break it down for beginners.
That's exactly right. Today, we dove into the Network Heroes curriculum. Now, yes, it's designed for students, but honestly, it offers maybe the clearest, most concise explanation of core cybersecurity concepts we could find. It's kind of a shortcut to getting up to speed.
Okay, so our mission here is to pull out the key insights from that material. We want to boil it down into three really fundamental pillars of digital safety, things that apply to anyone, whether you're deep in IT or just trying to keep your family's info safe online. These basics, they're universal.
Right. We're basically going to walk through three key steps for, let's call it, digital citizenship. First up, understanding your network, how it's built, how data actually moves around. Second, building strong defenses, those access controls, using layered strategies. And finally, spotting and dealing with malicious threats. We're aiming to go beyond just definitions, giving you the why behind each layer of security.
All right, let's unpack this then, starting with lesson 1. Network architecture. Before we can protect anything, we got to know what anything is, right? So what are the absolute core pieces of a basic local area network? A LAN.
Okay, the LAN, that's your foundation. It's a private network, usually in one small area, think your home or maybe one floor of an office building. To make it work, you obviously need your computers, your devices, but then you need switches. Those connect multiple devices within that local network. And critically, a router. The router is sort of the traffic director. It forwards data between your private LAN and the outside world.
And that outside world, that's the WAN, right? The wide area network.
Yeah, exactly. The WAN connects all those different LANs together over, huge distances, basically the internet. But here's where it gets interesting and where security really has to start. Data doesn't travel across the LAN or the WAN as one big continuous stream.
Right. The source material really pushes this idea, this visual information gets chopped up into tiny little pieces. They call them packets. Why even do that? Why break it up instead of sending one big file?
It really comes down to efficiency and redundancy, too. Think about it. If you send one massive chunk of data across the internet and just one tiny part gets corrupted, the whole thing might fail. But if you send it in these small packets, they can actually take different routes to get there. They get reassembled at the destination.
Yeah.
And if one or two packets get lost or damaged, they can be resent super quickly without messing up the whole transmission.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. But the second you have data flying around in separate little pieces, that creates an opportunity, doesn't it? The curriculum introduces this first bad guy, the packet thief. Someone trying to grab that data while it's moving.
Which leads us straight to the very first essential defense. Encryption. Encryption, simply put, is just scrambling the message so it can't be read. It's a reversible process using an algorithm. So even if that packet thief intercepts a packet, all they see is meaningless junk.
And this is where that key framework comes in, the CIA triad. Encryption directly defends the C part, right? Confidentiality.
Absolutely. Confidentiality is all about making sure information isn't seen by anyone unauthorized. Encryption is your main tool for that. So when you're doing online banking, sending a private email, you need that protocol encrypting those packets from the second they leave your LAN all the way across the WAN.
Okay, got it. So we've protected the data as it travels. Now let's just focus. How do we protect the network's front door, the entry point? This brings us to lesson 2 in the curriculum, password protection. If the packet thief is attacking data in transit, what's the threat trying to just barge in?
That would be the dictionary attacker. This kind of attacker, they don't usually have the processing power, or maybe the time, to try every single random combination of characters. Instead, they use brute force, but smart brute force. They use lists of common words, names, dates, maybe keyboard patterns, things people actually use, trying to guess their way in.
And to fight that, the curriculum lays out this really clear step-by-step approach to making passwords tougher. It goes from just 7 letters, then adds numbers to make 8 characters total, and finally lands on 9 characters minimum using letters, numbers, and special symbols.
And that progression, it's not just random. It's based on a measurable idea called password entropy. Entropy is basically a way to quantify how unpredictable, how strong a password is.
What's really striking is just how much difference adding those extra characters and types makes. What's the actual tangible benefit of going from, say, password 123 to something complex with high entropy?
Oh, the benefit is huge. It's exponential, really. A common 8-character password, maybe just lowercase in numbers, a decent modern computer or graphics card might crack that in seconds, maybe minutes. But you bump that up to, say, 12 or 14 characters, and you mix in uppercase, lowercase numbers, and symbols, you increase the entropy dramatically. Suddenly, that cracking time jumps from minutes to potentially years, or even decades with current tech. That's the real value of entropy. It makes attacking your password so costly, so time-consuming, that attackers usually just give up and look for an easier target.
Okay, so entropy makes the key itself really strong. But security folks are always talking about layered strategies. Defense in depth. Why isn't one super strong, maybe 16-character password enough? Why do we need layers?
Well, because no single defense is perfect. Every layer might have a potential weakness. Or maybe an attacker finds a different way, and what if your password gets leaked in a data breach somewhere else? Layered defense means even if an attacker gets past that first hurdle, the password, they haven't won yet, they immediately hit another wall.
And the source material we looked at, it points out two really key examples of these layers.
Yeah. The first one is two-factor authentication. You probably use it all the time, 2FA. It demands two different types of proof that you are who you say you are. Usually it's something you know that's your strong password.
And something you have.
Exactly. Something you physically possess, like a code generated on your smartphone app or sent via text. An attacker might steal your password from afar, but stealing your actual phone at the same time, much, much harder. It creates a massive extra barrier.
Okay, that makes sense. And the second layer mentioned.
The second layer is the network firewall. Think of this as the strict gatekeeper for your entire network. It inspects all the traffic trying to come in and even trying to go out, and decides what's allowed based on a set of security rules you define.
So if we go back to that CIA triad again, confidentiality, integrity, availability, where does the firewall fit?
The firewall is primarily about the eye integrity. It helps ensure the integrity of your network by stopping unauthorized or potentially harmful traffic from getting in. It prevents outsiders from making changes, installing nasty software, or messing with your systems. So your high-entropy password protects your login. The firewall protects the whole network's perimeter.
Right. Okay, so we've built the network. We understand packets and encryption. We've put up strong walls with passwords and firewalls. But stuff can still slip through, right? So now we move to lesson 3, dealing with the things that find the cracks. Malware.
Malware. Yeah, that's the umbrella term for any kind of malicious software. It covers anything designed specifically to, disrupt your systems, damage data, or sneak in and gain unauthorized access. These are like the digital germs that try to exploit any little vulnerability that the password or firewall didn't catch.
And importantly, this software doesn't just magically appear. It usually gets delivered through some kind of trickery, right? With phishing being like the #1 method.
Oh, absolutely. Phishing is classic social engineering. It's basically an online con game. Attackers pretend to be someone trustworthy, your bank, maybe your boss, a popular online service, even a friend. They try to trick you into giving up sensitive info. Your personal information logins, credit card numbers, or, crucially, getting you to click a link or open an attachment that secretly installs their malware. The curriculum had that great analogy, helping people on Villager Social spot scams. That's a perfect example of teaching real-world vigilance. You have to be alert.
And that's where those memorable names come in. It makes these threats feel more concrete. We meet the ad werewolf and the fisher. How did the exercise use that idea to teach people how to spot threats?
It was pretty clever, actually. Players had to navigate these simulated websites like the store or Village Social, and their task was to find and isolate specific items that were infected. These were represented visually as things like bad apples, or maybe weird-looking shirts, or brooms that didn't belong.
Ah, okay. So the fake website itself is like the dangerous link someone might click. But the weird apple or shirt that represents the actual payload.
Yeah.
The malicious file or software download hidden inside.
Exactly that. It forces the learner, the player, to actively scan for things that look suspicious, the item that seems out of place, the link that feels a bit off. That active looking, that identification, is the first crucial step in stopping malware. And the next step they taught was quarantine.
Right. Quarantine, locking it away so it can't spread or do any damage. And this all led up to a kind of boss battle scenario, didn't it? Where the player had to use all 3 cybersecurity systems, basically, the concepts we just covered, to get rid of the threat for good.
And thinking about malware, when it does succeed, its goal often hits that final part of the CIA triad, availability.
Availability.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the A. The idea that you, as an authorized user, should be able to access your systems and your data whenever you need them.
Precisely. Think about ransomware. That's a very common, nasty type of malware. It encrypts all your files, locking you out completely. It denies you availability until you pay up. Other malware attacks might just crash your systems, causing downtime. Either way, your access is disrupted. That failure of availability can cause instant real-world problems and chaos.
Okay, so let's tie this all together for you, the listener. You've basically just gone through a rapid foundational course in cybersecurity essentials. You now have a grasp of how data moves in packets, why encryption is vital. You understand why layered defenses like strong passwords with high entropy plus 2FA and firewalls are absolutely necessary. You know how to be more vigilant about spotting and isolating malicious software, especially the kind delivered by tricky phishers.
Yeah, we hit those key areas. Understanding the network itself, LAN WAN, packets, and protecting confidentiality with encryption. Then building your personal defenses, password entropy, 2FA, and protecting integrity with firewalls. And finally, threat awareness. Recognizing malware and phishing and understanding the importance of maintaining availability. These really are the cornerstones of being digitally literate and safe.
We really hope this deep dive into these fundamentals gives you not just the knowledge, but also the language and the confidence to think about your own digital security more strategically.
And maybe just one final thought for you to consider. Think about that CIA triad again. Confidentiality, integrity, availability. We talked about how these systems protect each aspect, but reflect on which failure would actually cause the most immediate, the most significant chaos in your life. Would it be worse if your private data was stolen and maybe published, confidentiality breached? Or if someone secretly changed important information without you knowing, integrity loss? Or if you were completely locked out of your own systems or files, availability denial? Thinking about the real-world impact of each type of failure, well, that can help you figure out where to focus your own cybersecurity efforts next. Which risk worries you the most?